thenewbeatmaker.com.
This is Lee from thenewbeatmaker.com. Vince Staples, Big Fish Theory. And before we get into it, just want to say many thanks and a big shout out and support to gimmethатbeat.blogspot.co.uk and Definition of Fresh. .blogspot.co.uk. They have posted and shared and promoted quite a few of my recent videos, so I just want to say many thanks to them. Go and check them out, great websites. This introduction and also the conclusion have been done a few days after the rest of the review. It was going to be a first impressions review. Being the kind of album that it is, it's one that the repeated listening is where you really start to get more value. And let's get into this review. Hi, this is Lee from thenewbeatmaker.com. Vince Staples' new project mixes world-weary lyrics and a depersonalised delivery with cold, abrasive production more akin to UK dance. Right from the jump, give credit to Vince and his team for going left field and not doubling down on the West Coast sound, quote unquote. Production wise, there's a mixture here of Disclosure, The Streets, or if we're talking about hip hop artists, there's a West Coast vibe to maybe the bass lines, but with the cold, icy electronic vibe and the depersonalized lyrical performances. It's reminiscent to Calypso's classic Hell Have No Fury, but especially early on, it's got this UK dance vibe. The vocal sample and skittish up-tempo drums of Crabs in a Bucket, for instance, have a great introduction to Vince on this album. You know, he spits some food for thought with a very up-tempo flow on here. But as soon as a female vocalist comes in on this track, and there's a bit more of a dance element, even more after I think it's his second verse, because it almost seems like Vince has added lyrics to someone else's dance track rather than it being his own track. The track seems to go very far away from him. The instrumental takes center stage, I guess, in his own project, and that's not the only time. You know, and at the end, the track just kind of tails off. Elisa's interlude, again, as a UK dance field. Again, you know, Vince seems like he comes on at the halfway side of the track, some downbeat sung lyrics, and then there's a big amount of time spent on a male vocal soul sample that sounds like it's from back in the day. 7:45, icy synths, triplets, and a massive slab of bass. The whole album is very bass heavy, and I love it. So again, this beat is great, but Vince sounds so disinterested in the narrative. Next up, 3M Freestyle. It sounds a bit like a demo, an unfinished idea, just a little something there. After that, a fantastic beat, but one of the most uninspiring hooks I've heard in a long time. Throughout the album, Vince sounds like he's having an existential crisis, namely that the young, rich hip-hop star trappings of fast cars and fast women and sold-out shows and totally banal and passé to him. Delivery-wise and lyrically, Vince spells it out very clearly on this track. Here is a beat that is likely to get a club or a concert crowd hype, with lyrics and a delivery over the top that evoke, a scene of Vince yawning and checking tweets in the middle of a crowd that's getting all hyper. Party people has a more hyper Vince, and here again he lays out this dissonance plainly. How am I supposed to have a good time with death and destruction is all I see. Vince's clear despair and detachment, juxtaposed with a club banger sonic aesthetics, works perfectly. Final track again hits the spot. This song's called Rain Comes Down. Sounds like a come down in a festival tent. Everything all got a bit messy the night before, and now everyone feels a bit awkward, and no one wants to talk about who took what and who got off with whom when they shouldn't have. The hook is Aaron Hall meets Young Thug, which is an odd combination, but it's not unenjoyable. It's quite reminiscent actually of the Charlie Wilson hook on Kanye's Bound 2, but it isn't as epic. It's a memorable hook on an album that otherwise suffers from not having very memorable hooks. But through all this, Vince comes across as a very talented, very troubled MC. He has a great flow. The way he rides the beats sometimes is just crazy. Could have doubled down on the West Coast G-Funk. They could have also doubled down on let's make a bunch of party tunes and let's have Vince talk about, let's all go crazy and let's have a party. Evidently that would have been insincere, so I really big up Vince and his team for the experimentation and the bravery. that they put into this project. It took me a little while. This was going to be a first impressions review. I've listened to the album a bit more to give it a more well-rounded appraisal, I think. It would be kind of unfair for me to judge this album as being a purely Vince Staples project. Is more what happens with producer slash MC albums. I'm thinking here like Dre projects, Kanye West albums. Kind of ironic because Kanye puts himself so much in the forefront in some ways, but he does give a lot of shine to other artists on his project as well, and so they can feel very much like a collaboration or a coalition of people working together, and that's what it feels like on here. So so there's Vince, there's a various singers involved. There's obviously Kendrick and the producers, and even Elisa's demo. Forgive me, slash tribute to Amy Winehouse, talking about love and heartache and how that goes into the music. At first, I was a little bit thrown by these parts, and I kind of felt a little bit like it was taken away from Vince himself as the main attraction, as it were. But just equally, it shows he doesn't have to be all in the spotlight. And if you want an album which is one MC spitting for 45 minutes, this album is not going to be for you. But as a collaborative joint enterprise, joint venture, 7. Till next time, this is Lee from thenewbeatmaker.com. Go support patreon.com/LeeTNB, the new beatmaker. Many thanks for watching and listening, and until next time, bye bye.
thenewbeatmaker.com